The Cain Letters, Chapter 7. Marcus. Pastor Donovan leaned forward a little, folding his hands. "We all know you do a great job here." He sat in a cozy chair, staring at Marcus. The clock kept ticking and ticking in silence. Marcus started his head. The dust settled in the air, the dust seen only by beams of light through the window. Nodding away, Marcus wanted to roll his eyes. He leaned with his whole life, understanding the state of the superior, the quiet judgment, commonplace for a youth pastor in a church. He anticipated it well. All Marcus did was stare back. He accepted Donovan to follow him somehow, but instead, he just looked at Marcus with a best intentions gaze. This sort of quiet, compassionate judgment, much like the stare a dentist gave when confronting a patient with too many cavities and not enough brushing. Marcus wrung his hands together, and he tried hard enough to chew his bottom lip, just kept nodding. He felt like a bobblehead. "I should hope I'm doing a great job." Marcus glanced at either side of him. "Don, you called me here to see me on a Thursday. Of all days." "Yes, I know." Pastor Donovan leaned forward, pressing his fingers together in thought. "It's about Sunday." "Sunday? What about Sunday?" Pastor Donovan sighed, staring down. His leather chair creaked. He glared at Marcus. "Vampires?" There it came, the reason, the question. Marcus nodded, smirking. Pastor Donovan tilted his head, trying to read Marcus's face. "Here we have a youth group, together in fellowship of Christ. And you want to talk about vampires?" Marcus put a hand out to stop him. "Okay, now just listen real quick." No, you listen real quick, Marcus." Pastor Donovan glared at him. "Now, believe me, I understand the need to present the world, not hide from it. But vampires? Come on, Don, give me a break, research." Pastor Donovan shrugged. "What? Are you saying there are vampires?" "Well, not like the Hollywood or anything, but there is such thing as a vampire cult. Vampirism. Seriously, look it up." Pastor Donovan folded his hands together. "And what does that have to do with God?" Marcus threw his hands up. "Well, okay, for one thing, I'm listening. Okay, first of all, consider the Bible. Look at the stories. Whoever heard of a demon named Legion that Christ drove out and banished into a herd of pigs? Or Elijah sending down fire from heaven? Or, heck, even at parting of the Red Sea, crazy stuff. Is there any doubt that demons exist? Demons, evil souls, and all that crazy stuff. I mean, that should be pretty relevant. And today's vampire cults resemble that supernatural phenomenon." Marcus shrugged. "You know what? I honestly don't know. The evidence of cult worship and the drinking of blood, granted rarely on the news, because vampire cults generally don't break any laws. So I bother them. Research, I'll show you. Lots of websites and researches on vampirism." Marcus cleared his throat and then continued. "Human beings in some state of mind, suggestion, an obsession with blood, and dark lifestyle, or undead turning into bats. Whatever they are doesn't matter, not the main issue." Pastor Donovan chuckled, leaning in a little, piercing Marcus with his dark eyes. "What do you believe?" Marcus blinked. "Me? Well, I don't know. Just shoot out an answer." "It's not a supernatural thing. No supernatural. This concept of vampirism is purely a state of mind, a lifestyle. I don't know that for a fact, but that's what I believe. Pastor Donovan glared a little longer and then nodded. Okay, so what is the main issue? Marcus exhaled. Times like this made him wonder if his job as youth pastor waited for him next day. As a Christian, Marcus Berneran loved his gift of creativity, and he appreciated the freedom to use it. He thought that after 3 years working at the church, bringing up intense subjects and discussion wouldn't rock the boat much. It did. Maybe not a whole lot, but enough. In a church, even the slightest wave casts a million ripples. Vampirism is very real. Marcus licked his lips. To be honest, I am fascinated with the reasons why people do what they do. I want to understand it. I want those kids to understand it too. All that is evil in the world, as real as drugs, alcohol, sex, violence, prune juice. And since we really need to resist those types of things, we do ourselves better with it, if we can understand those things too. Prune juice? Pastor Donovan lifted an eyebrow. Yes, prune juice. Pop is way better. But you see what I'm saying? Pastor Donovan sat still. He couldn't help but smile, with a kind of amazement. Marcus looked on, hearing the familiar ticking of the clock again, now that it went quiet. Pastor Donovan rocked back and forth, drumming his fingers together. Marcus hated that, too, the drumming of the fingers, the judgment. He wrung his hands together again, waiting for the judgment. He stopped rocking. Alright. So, here's the deal. I agree understanding is important, but promise me one thing, Marcus. Yes? Lay off the vampire movies, he said, smiling. Marcus felt exasperated. Oh, now you know I wouldn't throw in any of the modern rated R stuff, like, right? Pastor Donovan lifted an index finger up, smiling. Dracula is okay, that's Bram Stoker one. The original, like Bela Lugosi. Classic, one of my favorites. Marcus chuckled, shocked at his confusion. At Pastor's favorite, Dracula. Listening to some rock music in his dorm room, Marcus sat on his bed with his laptop. Surfing on the web, he rubbed his eyes, not browsing for anything particular. He had already checked his social networking accounts, and then his email, then worked a little on some homework. He'd even found his spare moments to watch several goofy internet videos, while other students opt for a party and a few joints. He satisfied himself with the rock and roll on a stereo and a bag of corn chips beside him. He had done enough partying in his lifetime already. Earlier he spoke with Gina on the phone about his meeting with the Pastor Donovan, talking about his controversial youth group. Again, the demons in his closet begged to break free. So much judgment. The music on his player started to bleed and mash together, with his breathing and the whispers of the walls. Fatigue setting in, darkness setting in, temptation setting in. Woohoo! Yeah, dudes, hey, yeah! Hey, Mark, hey! He blinked. Through trance ending, he left his own happy digital world upon hearing the constant calling from his outside window. Setting aside his laptop, he groaned as he got out of bed. He rubbed his head of matted hair, drawing the curtain back to stare down to the path of the complex. He saw 2 guys and 5 girls dressed in pretty skirts, falling over them. They carried 6 packs and couldn't stand straight, even if someone paid them to try. In the night air, Marcus heard crickets and appreciated them more than guys and the girls. Hey! One of them said. Not now, guys, not now. Marcus said. Come on, don't be a wuss, the other said. The redhead wants to meet ya. Come on, it's Thursday, I'm tired. I've got work in the morning, not tonight. One of them raspberried him, and the girls giggled. Marcus dropped the drapes, ending the useless exchange. He sniffled in through the snuffy nose. Allergic. Faintly, he heard them taunting him and laughing. He shook his head and smiled a little. Not strangers to him. He knew them meant well, but he couldn't go down that road again. Meaned back to bed. He planted a letter on his side and started typing. His meeting with Pastor Donovan kept droning in his head. He felt it might not stop unless he tried to uncover something, of revelation about what drove his fascination. Vampirism. Particularly vampirism and Christianity connected. He did a search on the term vampirism and Christianity. All the while, the dark whispers in his head kept droning. Voices of that shadow, wanting him to go back into that place of death he visited long ago. Drugs, porn, sex, booze. Funny how all of that echoed the same as Pastor Donovan's judgment. He couldn't count how many times he checked his search engine for any references to Christianity and vampirism literature. Every single day. There were days he felt obsessed with it. Maybe it was his own dark side, driving him to find out the truth, how it all began. He never found anything interesting though. Rubbing his eyes, he tapped the cursor to scroll down, checking all the hits. Nothing noticeable. He laughed at himself at the idea of Dracula. How he loved the character, the first vampire. Or maybe not. It was silly to think that vampires were a myth. Somehow he thought that even myths had an etching of truth to them. Supernatural not. Or maybe some breath of dark paranormal did exist. But how? And where did it come from? Dracula? Rubbish, he said to himself. Still love it though. Nothing. No hits, this is crap. Boring stuff. And then his heart skipped, coming across one hit. The prickly things on the back of his neck stood up, on end. He blinked. Not ever seeing their link before with any search on the internet, or any bit of library research. He clicked the link, hearing the computer flutter. Those dark whispers grew a little louder inside his mind, as he stared at the article loading up. Theories of vampirism and Christianity, connections. Philosopher Malamannus. Whoa, no way. An article written by a Christian theologian of sorts named Theodore Strang documents the findings of an ancient book written by the philosopher named Malamannus. There were two parts to that chilling his insides. One he swallowed hard, reading that it delved into the origin of vampirism. How vampirism was born, he read, heart thumping. And two, the article writer, Mr. Theodore Strang, lived right in Chicago, about 20 minutes away. Marcus Brennan read on. The connection between Christianity and the myths of vampirism, revealed in documents, discovered, exploring in detail the origin of the very first vampire, recorded in history. What is read here can change the world.